Well, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. We're pretty much at the end of the road for Battlefield 2042. All of the updates that matter are out, and this video is just going to sort of encapsulate my general thoughts and personal feelings about the game. This is not the Battlefield 2042 review. However, I do have news for my definitive Battlefield 2042 review, which will be much more in-depth than this, and also cover just completely different subjects. I hope that video will be out this month. I'm aiming for, let's say, middle to end of June. So if you've been waiting for my definitive Battlefield 2042 review, just know I'm chiseling away at it every single day in sections because I'm kind of a perfectionist when it comes to that video and I want it to blow people away. So perhaps if you aren't subscribed to the channel or you don't have notifications turned on, turn them on just for the month of June because this video is going to take me a very long time to make. But in today's video, I'm just going to sort of go over my thoughts about how Battlefield 2042 went, some of the decisions the developers made, some interesting community dynamics, some of the content, and how I'm feeling at the end of Battlefield 2042. So, if you enjoy the video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I will be posting a lot of other games on the channel, so you don't have to worry about that. Likely some new Call of Duty videos, and X-Defiant and Delta Force Hawk Ops, and of course, Battlefield videos. Don't worry, they're not going anywhere. And with that being said, Battlefield 2042, we get to actually look at it in its totality now. It's very unfortunate because when I look at Battlefield 2042, you can't ignore that over half of the game's actual content was them just going back and redoing the base game maps because they were so abysmal. In my opinion, it's actually unbelievably easy for them to completely avoid that absolute mess in the next Battlefield game, and they better. And this is me just like putting my foot down, right? And you guys should too. They better not have to do redo anything about the base game maps in the next Battlefield game. It's just simply embarrassing and a complete waste of time. But even more depressing than that thought is we now have to consider the fact that we're going to be stuck with Battlefield 2042 in its current state for over a year. No, think about that. It is June 4th at the time of recording this video, 2024. We're probably going to get the next Battlefield game at the end of 2025. We're talking literally 18 months. And this begs the question, where is the Battlefield community going to go? Because people aren't going to play this game. It's going to lose players fast, especially because there's no new content coming to the game. And the only real new things that DICE is going to add are small updates here and there. And then even those updates are going to end. So what are the Battlefield community going to actually play? Are they going to play X-Defiant, or are they going to go play like Arma or something? I have no idea. For about a year and a half, Battlefield is actually going to be dead. Think about that for a second. So this makes me feel obviously very sort of depressed and concerned for not only my channel, but just for Battlefield in general, because if you're going to make people wait this long, what if the next game just sucks and they pick the wrong concept and it doesn't grasp people as it should, or perhaps the trailer makes people angry like Battlefield 5's announcement trailer? DICE EA are walking on unbelievably thin ice, but at the same time, it really is extremely simple for them to deliver a good Battlefield game because it's not hard, right? The task in front of them isn't hard if they understand what the Battlefield community is looking for. But of course, DICE is famous for not learning, so we'll have to see what they actually do. I want to touch on some interesting community dynamics. Portal in Battlefield 2042. My God, what a complete waste. They made some big mistakes in the design of Portal. I think they allowed way too much customization, which then enabled the Battlefield player base to make essentially unplayable servers that are just completely deranged, such as 1000% damage Afghanistan hardcore servers. I mean, that is just simply unplayable. No sane person is going to join that server and enjoy it. So my thoughts about Portal coming out of Battlefield 2042 are, if they're going to carry that system over into the next Battlefield game, they're going to have to make some drastic changes to it, or in my opinion, they should just remove it, because I genuinely think they'd be better off removing it than putting it in the game the same way they put it in Battlefield 2042. And another thing about Portal is I think the things that the Battlefield community made in Portal really speaks to the competency of the current Battlefield community, because I genuinely refuse to believe that any competent community would ever make anything of the sort. But to be fair, DICE enabled that sort of behavior because, again, there weren't proper, reasonable restrictions to customization in place. Moving on to some thoughts about the gameplay and actually the gunplay. We'll start with the gunplay. So, as we know, Battlefield 2042's gunplay has undergone a couple iterations. We had laser beam gunplay, most notably, if you remember the pre-nerf RM68, that could beam you out to literally 150 meters, which was game-breaking, and other guns in the game could do it as well, such as the AK and most of the LMGs. And then they tried to fix it and reduce the engagement ranges, which was the right thing to do, except they did it the wrong way by not completely redesigning how the spread system actually worked in the game. And now Battlefield 2042's gunplay is just a worse-feeling version of Battlefield 4's gunplay, where you have to try to burst in order to reset spread. They had the right idea, but again, the execution just wasn't there. My overall feeling is I would honestly kind of prefer the laser beam gunplay just because it's more fun, even though it creates unbelievably terrible balance situations. Because if DICE isn't going to redesign the gunplay properly, I would rather just deal with the problems of the current gunplay rather than have some sort of half-baked BF4 gunplay. Segueing from the gunplay into some other aspects of the gameplay, just some very brief thoughts about how I feel about it. I feel like the specialists weren't really a big deal to me, but that doesn't matter because they're a huge deal to the community. It is the most easy decision ever to just axe specialists and not put them in the next game. That is beyond simple. So if I don't get that right, I'm honestly not even going to play the next Battlefield game. I'm just going to go, I don't know, sleep in my bed for the rest of my life. The movement of Battlefield 2042 just sort of feels really delayed and unfinished. It almost feels like I'm still playing a beta. I don't really need more sort of realistic movement. I just need more finished feeling movement, and that can go for the entire game. The game in general just needs to be way more finished and polished feeling, and that can also be said for the vehicle design. The vehicle design in this game is nothing short of stupid. It really is. There's such a lack of mechanics. They're so cheesy. They're so simple to use. And every single time I see a vehicle in this game, it's just sort of an annoyance rather than something that I feel like going up against. And that in part has to do with the vehicle versus infantry balance. I feel like the balance of this game is just super spammy in general, with things like Zane and the way the recoilless rifle works. It has super fast hit scan velocity and you have a ton of rockets. Then you factor in lists and all these other things. It's just super, super spammy, and I hope they reduce that spam in the next Battlefield quite significantly, just by making better design choices. And speaking of better design choices, I would love to see a return to a functional, option-packed UI system, okay? Basically, guys, just copy Battlefield 4/Battlefield 1's UI, make some small improvements here or there, but keep all the customization those UIs actually have for us. And while I'm on the topic of customization, I think the topic of soldier customization, weapon customization, skins, and all that sort of stuff is just super straightforward. Don't make anyone mad, okay? People don't like all these stupid flashy skins with cheetah print and bright red accents. If you want to have Battlefield players get behind you in your customization, just have the setting be like Battlefield 3 and 4, and have the customization for the soldiers be within reason. So you can give them, I don't know, like night vision goggles on the top of their helmets, or just military accurate customizable options, right? That is what the Battlefield community is going to want, so that you can customize your soldier to look how you want it to be, but it's not going to stick out like a sore thumb. And as for weapon customization, just sort of improve the way Battlefield 4 did it. Battlefield 4 offered multiple different attachments that did the same thing, but looked different, okay? Just do that. And while we're on the topic of weapons, can we please add back the ability to customize zoom levels per optic? You guys remember when that technology was in the game? And I suppose it was necessary for a game set in World War I because the amount of sights you had to choose from in World War I, well, let's face it, were basically non-existent. So they had to sort of give people zoom customizability within Battlefield 1 just to make people happy. In a modern setting, you can have a 1x scope, a 1.5x, a 2x, a 2.5x, a 3x, and all this sort of thing. And they can be completely unique and real military scopes that are actively used. So I suppose my overall takeaway and just my overall feel for Battlefield 2042 is I just wish they get their heads out of their collective asses and actually make a solid effort and make decent decisions whilst they're making the next Battlefield game. The task in front of them is big, but I don't necessarily think the task in front of them is difficult. I think the feedback the players have provided is extremely clear, and they have really one of the easiest game releases of all time. All they have to do is execute and not make people mad by making stupid decisions and by making stupid additions that nobody asked for. If they went ahead and released a modern Battlefield game with a decently large amount of live service content and just made sure the game was decent enough on release, I genuinely don't think we're going to have any problems, ladies and gentlemen. I really don't. I think that's what people have been expecting for, God, probably 2 or 3 Battlefield games now. So just give the people what they want. I'm tired of seeing Battlefield fail when, to be honest, it's an easy win. So with all this being said, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like I said, I will have my definitive Battlefield 2042 review out hopefully this month. I'm going to be working on it probably after I record this video in a small section. I want to make it something that leaves an impact on people. I want it to impress people, and I want it to be a completely fair review, because one thing I'm focusing on in my review is I'm looking at multiple different ways to look at each and every single thing that I mention. Unfortunately, a lot of it's going to be negative because it has to be negative, and they didn't leave me any choice. If they don't want a negative review, perhaps they should make a better game. So again, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I stream every single day at twitch.tv/enders and on YouTube at the very same time. Thank you for watching, leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next one.